A large-scale search for a nurse missing in South Australia's outback has ended in tragedy with the discovery of her body in a shallow roadside grave. 56-year-old Gail Woodford hadn't been seen since Wednesday night when she was abducted from outside her home in the remote APY lands. Nicola Gage filed this report from Marla.
3 days of searching, ending in tragedy. The body of Gail Woodford found just over a kilometre from her home.
We found a shallow grave on the roadside about 1.5 kilometres out of Freegon. We believe that the grave will contain the remains of Gail.
The worst possible outcome after a huge 3-day operation in unforgiving terrain. From air and land, police and volunteers, including Aboriginal trackers, scoured the remote area for any trace of the health worker. Police say her death has devastated not only her family, but also locals.
Gail, I'm told, was a much loved person here, so this is devastating news, not just for Freegon, but for the whole APY community.
Authorities believe Miss Woodford was abducted from outside her home in Freegon, a small Aboriginal community, while her husband was still inside. The ambulance she normally drives was intercepted the next day, 400 kilometres away at Coober Pedy, and its driver, a man from Freegon, is in custody.
We only have one suspect, and that suspect is in custody on vehicle-related crimes. We expect to interview that person later this afternoon, and we'll see how things go.
A search over, but work to begin for investigators who will now make the 1,200 kilometre journey from Adelaide to examine the scene. Nicola Gage, ABC News, Marla.
Now live. Nicola, when did police find the body?
Well, searchers have been working in hot conditions tirelessly over the past 3 days, but it wasn't until 2 p.m. this afternoon that the body of Miss Woodford was unfortunately discovered about 1.5 kilometres east of her home on the side of the road in a shallow grave. That area has now been blocked off to traffic and is under police guard while investigations continue.
Nicola, do police expect to lay any additional charges?
Well, that's anticipated, but we don't know too much about that at this stage. What we do know is that police have been very clear in saying that they only have one suspect for this crime, and that suspect is in custody in Coober Pedy at this stage. It's a 36-year-old man from the Aboriginal community where Miss Woodford resided, and investigators will be speaking with him in depth this evening.
There's been an outpouring of grief for nurse Gail Woodford, whose body was found in South Australia's remote outback. Police today charged a 36-year-old man with her murder. Nicola Gage is in Marla and has been following the story. Nicola, I understand you've spoken with the family.
That's right, Emma. We met with Miss Woodford's son and daughter this afternoon in Freegon, the Aboriginal community where Miss Woodford resided, and they read out a very emotional statement about their mother, saying that she positively affected every person that she met, especially those she helped as her work as a nurse.
A family heartbroken after the unthinkable. The murder of health worker Gail Woodford, who police believe was abducted from outside her home in the middle of the night.
We are having difficulty coming to terms with this unprovoked, premature end to Mum's life.
Miss Woodford and her husband had been living in the small Aboriginal community of Freegon for several years, where she worked at the local health clinic.
She provided care with a smile. We all loved her, and we'll miss her deeply.
Her disappearance on Wednesday led to a huge land and air search through dense terrain. A 36-year-old man caught driving her work ambulance the next morning was today charged with murder.
This is a truly sad crime. You know, it shouldn't be seen as a reflection on Freegon. This is a crime that could have occurred anywhere. When you have such an evil, violent person.
We respectfully ask all to consider our privacy in this tremendously sensitive time. Our hearts are breaking every second.
Forensic investigators flew to the remote APY lands from Adelaide to examine the shallow roadside grave just outside Freegon.
Notwithstanding the GPS data and notwithstanding the efforts of everybody, we still needed a degree of luck to find her.
Ms Woodford's death has prompted calls for better protection of health workers in outback areas. An online petition pushing to abolish single work posts in Australia has more than 10,000 signatures. The nurse behind it says stories of abuse are unfortunately all too common.
Some have been sexually assaulted. Some have been, verbal abuse is a daily occurrence just about. So there's been a lot of physical violence basically against remote area nurses for a very long time.
A call for change to possibly prevent similar tragedies in the future.
Now, forensic investigators only arrived from Adelaide this morning, so police do anticipate that they'll be sticking around for some time. There are some star group officers still here. They're expected to be here tomorrow. We understand that Miss Woodford's body will be flown to Adelaide this evening, and the accused man from Mimili, the Aboriginal community just across from where Miss Woodford lives, is expected to face court on Tuesday. Back to you, Emma.